Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics, and this is your Proof Daily NFT Countdown. Woke up this morning and didn't feel great. A little bit sick. We're going to power through it. A lot to talk about. Going to talk about Gen 4 of Reddit avatars that launched yesterday, about the Cyberkongz mint that's happening probably as we speak right now. Hoodie Cryptopunks kind of catching fire a little bit. Let's go. Starting off with a quick market overview. Volumes were down again, down to about 7,000 ETH of volume. Majority of market share, about 70%, was with Blur, 27% with OpenSea. Unique buyers up a touch, so back above that 5,000 mark by a small bit. Large cap index was up a small bit. You can't really tell here, but it was down a little bit over the past couple of days and had a little bit of a rally yesterday, largely because Azuki was strong, kind of popped back up into that 5 ETH plus range. Pudgy Penguins have been strong, now back up to 4 to 4.2. Also had some weakness in Captains and Doodles. Mid-cap index up a small bit as well. I added Sprado Gremlins to the index. I don't know a ton about this project, I'll admit it, but they kind of consistently sit in that 0.5, 0.6 ETH range. Made more sense than something like Alien Friends, which is at 0.1 ETH, so even a 0.01 ETH move is going to be a 10% move for that index. So removed Alien Friends, added Sprado Gremlins, which was up 25%. One thing I did want to mention was Moonbirds launched a background for Grails holders. In order to have this background, you have to own a Grail from every single Grails collection. Remember, Grails are the project that Proof does for collective pass holders, release a lot of different art, but don't tell the audience what the artist was. So the audience has to pick which piece of art they want without knowing who the artist is, and then the artist gets revealed at the end. So if you own one of each, you can have this background. It actually led to a bunch of Grails being bought. I think there's sort of just like a collectability component here that people want to own one of each. You can kind of see it in action, that background with a bunch of the Moonbirds. In terms of art projects, this Vera Molnar project, I'll show you that in a little bit. We talked about it yesterday. Incredibly successful. Like, this is one of the first art projects we have seen that really popped off. Went from about a 1 ETH mint price to over 3 ETH floor right now. Even seeing it go up to about 3.8 last I checked. So a ton of strength in that. So congrats to everybody who bought in there. Someone who has so much gravitas, so much provenance. I think people are just taking a bet that this is an NFT that you want to own over time. In terms of art blocks, there was a 39 ETH ringer sale. An archetype sold for 10.8. This Meridian sold for 7.75. Now, this exact same Meridian was dumped into a bid for 6.5 yesterday. So pretty nice flip there for whoever had that bid in. It actually is a really nice color palette for something dumped to the floor. And then you had an anti-cyclone, which sold for 6 ETH. Wanted to show some of these Vera Molnar sales. These are the 4 most expensive that we've seen until now. 2 for 10 ETH, those at the top, and then a couple for 5.86 ETH. So we are just seeing kind of nice buying on the floor, but then also a little bit of Grail action. Second thing to talk about, let's talk about this Reddit Gen 4. I think this is one of the more perplexing things that there is in the digital collectible space. I think the reason is because if you actually look at the number of wallets that are holding Reddit avatars, that number is already up to over 14 million. I mean, just numbers, to put that in perspective, NFTs are about ETH NFTs about 5,000 buyers per day. So to have 14 million wallets holding a Reddit avatar, and it really hasn't even existed for more than a year yet. It's a pretty massive number. Now, I wanted to kind of contrast this with this chart that I got here from this OX Martin B Dune dashboard. And this is when the volume has been where people are actually trading them. And you can see that all the volume was in October when that Gen 2 launched. That was when all that kind of hype started and people were talking about it nonstop. And you really haven't had a whole lot of trading volume since then. So what's the catch here? Why is there this conflict? And the reason is that to get an avatar is very, very easy. All you have to basically do is have a Reddit account. They'll show you a bunch that you can get, and then you go pick one out. Okay, so pretty much everyone on Reddit can go get an avatar, and that immediately gets put into an NFT wallet. So it's almost as simple as simply being a member of Reddit is going to get you an avatar. So I don't think that metric of how many people own them is super relevant. I think the more interesting thing is how many people are out there buying, paying for them. But we are seeing a bit of that too. Let's dive into Gen 4. So this is Gen 4. We've had 3. 2 was the one that really popped off. Gen 1 was a little bit quieter. Gen 2 was the one that popped off. And then this is the third one, the second one after that, I guess. One of the reasons this was an interesting one is because Cool Cats was involved. Cool Cats, obviously one of the more interesting, kind of longer standing projects in the NFT ecosystem, did do a Reddit collectible. Let's have a look at the 3 of them. They've all sold out. The way that Reddit does it is each artist comes up with 3 digital collectibles. one is more rare than the second and then the third, and they're at different price points. So in terms of where you can buy them now on OpenSea, this one on the left, you can still get it for 0.008 ETH. So something like $10, something like that. The middle one in middle rarity is 0.032 ETH. And then the most expensive one, which costs $20 or $200 to buy at the outset, is now available for 0.09 ETH. So down a small bit versus, in terms of floor price, down a small bit versus where that mint price was. It did sell out. And yeah, they use that computer. That's kind of one of the Grail cool cats. So cool to see that they imported that into their Reddit collectibles. Another artist, Penguit, was one of the artists for Gen 4. Penguit works at Proof. And here's a tweet from Corporate Trash saying that she bought one. Penguit not only works at Proof, but he actually designs the covers or the thumbnails for these. So wanted to give him a quick shout out. And then I also wanted to look at some of the top selling sales that we had during that October time where everyone was talking about how hot Reddit avatars were. This one on the left was the most expensive Reddit avatar ever sold. It sold for 30 ETH back in October of 2022. Right now, the most recent sales have been for 2 ETH. So down about 28 ETH from that. And then this gold one on the right, these Midas ones, this sold for 18 ETH during kind of peak excitement about Reddit and people buying. And the most recent sale has been for 0.9 ETH. So certainly seeing that a lot of these prices are down a fair bit versus their peak. My basic take is what I've said. When you have a Web 2 property with a huge user base that makes it very easy to pick a collectible, you're going to get that headline number is going to be very strong. It does not mean you're seeing a ton of people buying and selling NFTs. That said, it is a decent on-ramp, longer term on-ramp for the space. People who are feeling connected to their PFP, I think that's always a good thing. Third thing to talk about, the Cyberkongz Genkai mint is happening today. Cyberkongz is one of the most kind of historic, long-standing projects. So I did kind of want to give it a little bit of a shout out what's going on there. For those who don't know, during the bull market, these were the absolute most expensive NFTs. They're certainly in the league of the most expensive. There are 1,000 of them. You had sales for 200 ETH, 185, 180, 180. There was a time where the banana token that you could get for owning a Cyberkongz was emitting more than $1,000 worth per day. So this has, in general, been one of the more interesting projects. They haven't even raised a ton of money. It's kind of a bit of a homegrown native project that has done good things. The floor price, of course, down a lot from there. Still have a floor price around 8-9 ETH, which isn't that bad in the scheme of where we've seen things go. They're launching this new project called Genkai today on the Ronin network, which I believe, I don't know a lot about Ronin, but I believe that is where the Axie Infinity game kind of lived and existed. A little bit about this mint. Here they are saying that they're doing it with Ronin. A little bit about the mint. There are 20,000 NFTs, anime-inspired collectibles that are journeying through the home continent of the Kong. So they're creating a whole continent. They want to use the money to expand their IP into Southeast Asia and Japan. And I think that they're trying to raise $4 million. I think after the struggle that Elemental's had, it is going to be tough to raise $4 million. Did I say 400? I mean, they're trying to raise $4 million. I think after the struggle Elemental's had, I think it will be tough, but we'll see what happens. A little bit on Ronin. It is an Ethereum-linked sidechain built by Sky Mavis, basically created specifically for blockchain gaming. And this is the first non-Axie IP that is going to be setting foot on Ronin. Each Genkai will be assigned to one of 6 tribes. And 16,000 of them are going to be on Ethereum and 4,000 on Ronin. And there will be a bridge. I don't think it's quite ready, but it'll be available later this year. When I said tribes, you can see here, each of these icons represents a different tribe, and you can see the map for what they've done. Holders of Cyberkongz, of the Genesis ones, are going to get 2 free. Baby Kongs are going to get 1. And in order to get these free drops, you have to hold for 180 days. So they're not going to let you just sell it right away. If you do sell right away, you have to pay the 0.25 that everyone else has to pay. And then they have a whole series of how they're dropping the others to various people. So we will see how that goes. Interesting to see kind of one of these historic properties do a mint in what's been a really tough market. Lastly, let's talk about a few notable sales. Hoodie Cryptopunks, this one on the upper left. So for 179 ETH, a Bino Hoodie Cryptopunk. And this was the 4th hoodie sale of the week. I think that Punks OTC got a bunch of them through his deal with Beanie Maxi, so you knew that more hoodies were going to be coming to market. Other sellers came out of the woodworks. A few of these were from that trade, but they've kind of really held up. They've held up kind of in that 160 to 220 ETH sale. So nice to see all those trade hands. Ilan Derech, who we talk about, Ilan Derech, he sold a piece for 4.5 ETH. What I love about Ilan is the minute you see his work, you know exactly who it was. And this piece was sold to none other than Kevin Rose from Proof. I believe 4.5 ETH is one of the historic highs for Ilan. If you look at other sales, here are some of my favorites for 443 ETH. I believe that this is above them. So congrats to him for that. One other piece to talk about, Rebirth, Mother of God 2 by an artist called Crow. This sold for 4 ETH. Crow's had a lot of sales, kind of in that 3 to 4 ETH, but this is at the high end of his range as well. Just a bit about Crow. Crow is a digital abstractionist. His work is, and this is from his website, says his work is striking and that it is an uncanny field how it's created. There's a sense of analog process evident in the faded layers of different opacities and H tones blended from within the work. The resulting pieces are not only beautiful, but feel authentic and intentional. And I think really what he's getting at is kind of moving those traditionally normal analog processes that people use with their hands and art into the digital sphere and still being able to replicate that look and feel. So cool stuff from him. That is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, give us a like below. Tell us what you think in the comments. Join our Telegram group. We have the link below. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back tomorrow and just about every weekday with another show. Have a great day.